website would go live in 2010. It looked relatively harmless, just a page titled Fancy Island with a cute mascot by the name of Mimi. It looked relatively similar to other websites at the time, however clicking on this mascot would enter you into a world of puzzles, doors, and spirits hunting you down, all played from simple tabs and links in your browser window. This is Lomando. The game starts with simply entering a door. Clicking on the first dot brings you to a screen with multiple floating heads all moving around the screen at different speeds, a ghostly mask by the name of Elizabeth. Clicking the top one will bring you to a screen covered in red text. It was difficult to get any sort of consistent or reliable translation of the kanji, however I was able to make out some words with moderate confidence. It's able to be read certainly seems to follow a theme. Words such as doctor, sharp, sew, tools, medical, stitch, and tendon. At this point I decided to continue exploring. Clicking on the second dot brought me to a page with 4 floating tabs. Something of note that's easy to look over is the newspaper. What can be seen is the headline, Fancy Island closes. Manager suddenly disappears. Clicking on the eyes brings you to a page which I had a lot of trouble translating considering it's a mix of various languages. Clicking on the eyes in the center of screen brings you to a screamer disguised as a YouTube video. You can click on the glass shards which brings you to another video, and this one is real. It's got a little ghost boy by the name of Yukan no Shonen who gives you hints on how to move on, plays you a funky tune, and shows cards to which you have to type in the numbers on the red ones to get the key. After slowing down the video and going bit by bit, I was able to get them all and move on through the door. Here there's a jump scare of a zombie woman, and yet another door. This leads to a room full of eyes which you can pop, leading to floating heads by the name of Poochie Poochie, which again, you need to pop. Once doing so, you get to a room with 2 very smiley ladies, and a tiny doorway leading to what's honestly a sort of mesmerizing collage of images and videos. The door here can lead you to a variety of different pages. One with an ear-bleeding hum and an upside-down face by the name of Pura Pura. This page also contains text reading, Notice, this audio signal is an audio control signal. This is not abnormal. Considering this is not abnormal in the slightest, we move on to one of the other possible pages, featuring a very distressed woman pounding on the glass of the screen. Going back and clicking on another one of the floating faces reveals this room with a clown. This clown becomes a reoccurring and very important motif throughout the game. There are curtains you can click but that don't do anything. It seems a 5-directional code is needed. The next page features flashing colored lights. First door leads you to a YouTube video of terrifying ghost footage caught on camera, featuring the zombie woman from earlier on a train or a bus. She breaks through the bounds of the video and we see her closer up, completely missing her jaw. Second door just leads to this laughing baby head, which brings you to a dark screen and nothing else. And the third leads to what looks like a library with a door in front of you reading Gallery. Clicking on the door makes you walk forward towards it before falling into a pit of spikes and dying. The last floating head leads to an empty room with the TV showing static. Clicking on any of these dials causes Pura Pura to appear again with the same message. For here, we discover that clicking on her causes the background to fill with static, and then to multiply, till we get the lovely message of, Thank you for coming this far. I'll show you something nice as a thank you. What is this something nice? Another jump scare. This time with text repeating Tatsuge, which simply means help me. We get a game over here, so I decide to explore some of the previous sites a little more. Clicking on the newspaper brings you to a page titled something along the lines of Manager's Journal. We get a variety of entries with different dates. April 2nd, 2007. Well then, let's work hard and make our dreams come true. April 1st, 2008. I failed. Despite my expectations, I guess I wasn't cut out for it after all. April 27th, 2008. Insomnia makes work hard. I want to quit. July 1st, 2008. 'Cause I was born, I have no choice but to live. August 14th, 2008. The world is a shitty place, but this song is good. March 6th, 2009. Porridge. Delicious. May 1st, 2009. If I were to be reborn, I would like to live a good life. May 15th, 2009. I fell on the crosswalk and hit my chest hard. It's completely cracked. It hurts when I get up. June 1st, 2009. How did I let this happen? June 15th, 2009. To everyone reading this diary, thank you so much for everything so far. Please be happy for me. And finally, the 11th entry. June 16th, 2009. It writes itself as we read. It's painful. Help me. Someone please get me out of here. Something to be added on to is the fact that on the wiki there are archived versions of other entries that used to be on this page, which gives us a much deeper and more intricate look into the lore. From 2018 to 2019, the page featured these following entries. August 14th, 2009. The ideal theme park. Always dreamed of. Fancy Island. Today it finally opened. With Mimi, the mascot character, we invite you to the world of your dreams. In this summer vacation of Fancy Island, let's make great memories. August 20th, 2009. The event will be held today in the central plaza of the park. Piyama's Pie Man's Magic Show. The times of the events are as follows. Morning session, 11 to 12. Afternoon session, 14 to 15. From the magician Piyama Pie Man, you will see many mysterious magic tricks. Only 2 days later, August 22nd, 2009. You came to our theme park on August 20th, the day before yesterday. 17 customers were transported to the hospital due to an unexplained physical condition. An event has happened. The cause is not yet known, but I will explain everything again as soon as the details are known. In addition, we will refrain from doing business for the time being to investigate the cause. The business start date is undecided, but I will write it again as soon as it is decided. September 1st, 2009. Regarding the events of August 20th and the date of reopening for business. On the 20th of last month, more than a dozen guests became ill in the park and transported to the hospital. We have investigated the matter with various agencies. The cause was never determined. The agencies have assured us there was no problem in reopening for business. We will reopen for business on September 14th. We are all committed to preventing such incidents from happening in the future. We will make the theme park a safe and secure place. I am very sorry that such a thing has happened at this time. What can I say? Isn't it stupid? Is this the life you want to live? Life you have to work so hard for? You're having so much fun, wonderful things. You can only be happy for a short time. In the end, there's always a risk attached to it, right? No matter what happens, you'll have to suffer in the end. You work hard to get something, and you get it, and you have to struggle with it. Other people only care about themselves. They are all working only for their own status. Helping and being kind is for self-gratification. They want to have friends because they are afraid of being alone. They feel the gaze of many people around them who have complex and various thoughts and values, and how could they live in an empty life for decades? The more you live, the more stressed you become. The longer you live, the more stressed you become, the more exhausted you become, the more desolate, and finally, the more sick. Finally abandoned by your family, which you trusted the most, and die. September 18th, 2009. September 20th, 2009. Lifespan of 25 is long enough. You can imagine what the future will be like. September 21st, 2009. I had a dream last night that my tongue was being shaved with a peeler. September 22nd, 2009. Every day I try to confront 90% of my hardships with 10% of my happiness. When I think I have to live like this for the rest of my life, I think it would be better to die. September 24th, 2009. You already died at your post. October 1st, 2009. This is what happiness is all about, isn't it? I can't stop smiling. I'm starting to feel happy. I feel like I can fly right now. December 22nd, 2009. Curse. Indigo can't clean the smell of decay. Curse. I think I've heard that in various places. Curse. Why would I use puffin when I enjoy the smell? April 27th, 2010. Everyone, please be happy for me. July 12th, 2013. It's been a while since I watched Unsolved Mysteries. The opening is very nice. And then finally, the last two entries. This immediately gives us a huge lead into discovering the story within this. It seems that Fancy Island was an amusement park. On August 20th, a tragic event happened at a magician's show, Pyama Pie Man, which caused 17 guests to need to be transported to a hospital due to physical conditions which are unexplained. The manager sends out an official apology, and here's where his mental state seems to decline. He seems to fall further into depression and lose his grip on reality before we can assume he falls victim to this state. Continuing on, we get to this room. Trying to go through the door gets us a game over by Nata Ona. The slots on the bottom contain dangling feet with letters on them. I go back, and I click on the white window from earlier. This brings up what looks to be a song, likely the song the manager was referring to in his diary earlier. Clicking on the image brings up a highly disturbing video and a tune featuring a ghostly woman and background text relating to the manager's mental state. Could be inferred that this song was what led to his descent into madness, as after his entry mentioning the song is when his mental state seems to decline even further until his death. This could also be supported by the oddly hypnotizing visuals and the grim message found in the text in the background. Clicking on the third dot brings up a window where you have to carefully navigate your mouse through the gray area into the door. Doing so causes a stylized head to fall from the ceiling, then bringing you to two doors which have different puzzles for you to try and solve. Door on the left is supposed to have another mouse maze, but it didn't load correctly on my computer, so to the right door I went. The right door contains 8 chests, of which you have 3 guesses to find the key and move forward. There's a cupboard with 2 doors, the left one containing the code 2648, and the right containing a rather graphic depiction of a body, which I've blurred. After reaching a bit of a dead end, go back to the collage of images. This time, the door leads me to the inside of a room with 2 light switches. Switching off the leftmost light causes static and a ghost to appear. The poster leads to the clown, and the other light allows you to go through the door. Here I'm greeted by yet another door, and this one is covered in eyes, and to my dismay, the 4-number code we found earlier does not work on this, so go back to exploring. After clicking through a lot of web pages, I find myself back at this one, cursing myself for not looking closer. There are 4 panels on the wall, with a button, a keypad, and a map to show which order to type the numbers in. We get to watch the lady from earlier get crushed by spikes, touch a button, and then we go in. In the room, we can take her machete and continue onwards into a room where we find the code for the clown theater. Going through the doors, I find a freaky-looking lady with a big smile. She quickly dies, and I'm faced with a concerning amount of dolls. Brought into a minigame where I've got to take 15 of them out to pass, whack-a-mole style. Once done, very polite dolls tell me I can take my time. I get to a bunch of images. Clicking on any of them gets me to these fun and funky dudes. Poke one of them in the pecs, and bam, can enter in a code. A 4-number code, which gets me another 4-number code. I enter it into the eyeball door and continue onwards. We get a suspiciously red background and some fun little creepy crawlies who seem to really not want me to click on that door. Eventually this nice lady helps me out and spooks them away. And I can get in, and I find a piece of paper with the color code on it. On my way back out of this page, I noticed a small TV in the corner. Clicking on it caused a YouTube video to show up. The spooky-looking lady, however, she does decide to help us out, holding up a sign reading tips for moving forward. There's an enemy on the staircase that you must not defeat. If you defeat them, you'll end up in an infinite hell and won't be able to get out, so be careful. At this point, let's put some of the codes we got to use. Back to the clown theater, and I entered the code, found on the ticket earlier. Read with a ton more Poochie heads I need to pop. These ones are red. After doing so, I'm led to a room with a large purple one by the name of Mother Poochie, who informs me that they will not let me go forward. This starts a boss fight whose mechanics function relatively similar to just a game of rock, paper, scissors. Something interesting to know is my computer had a really hard time translating her name due to the fact there is no direct translation, as her name is the Japanese onomatopoeia for a bubble popping. After defeating her, we're faced with a jump scare and half a piece of paper featuring different colored eyes. Entering the code and going back in, I get to the page with the tab. Repeatedly trying to close the window causes the first appearance of our main villain, Payama. With the other fight, we defeat him in what's essentially rock, paper, scissors. That we faced off against the magician whose show in the theme park was quickly followed up by the incident which put 17 people in the hospital and closed the park. This gets us the other half of the paper with eyes. Going all the way back to the page with the red text, we find a single character that can be clicked on. This brings us to a locked door where we can input the color code from earlier. Here we're greeted by the familiar and friendly face of Yukan no Shonen, who simply wants to play a game of rock, paper, scissors, or John Kanpon with us. We have to watch the video, input the moves which correspond to the result. Here he peacefully allows us to continue forward. We enter a room with a woman with her back to us. Looking to the side, we find a painting with a shotgun hidden behind it. We take the weapon, are jump-scared by the zombified woman, who is brutally dispatched. Continuing forward, we reach a fake error page where a masked woman honestly snips scissors before we're brought to a maze we must navigate in the dark, also taking out any spirits or monsters in our way. We are then brought to an extremely realistic depiction of a staircase, which we make our way through while taking out spirits, with the exception of one, a young girl in a red skirt. Harming her would cause you to become eternally trapped within the stairwell. Once through, we find a tape recorder on the ground where we are given the first 3 letters for the door passcode, before Payama frightens us into dropping and breaking the recorder. We see a poster which works as a translation guide for the numbers before entering a grotesque room. The room is covered in squirming bugs as well as a body on the ceiling, belonging to the manager. Clicking on the doorway behind him allows us to enter a path that leads to the entryway covered in eyes, which the 2 papers earlier gave us the password to. However, we're stopped by a spirit and transported to the scariest place imaginable. A public bathroom. While there, you need to check various places to eventually find the sheep key and make it through the door to a long hallway where a no mask awaits. Definitely pronounced that wrong, I'm sorry. We see it has the ability to skewer the player, and unlike other spirits and such, it can't be shot. The player runs through a long maze filled with various spirits, where you eventually come face to face with the eye door. You enter in the code found with the torn papers and gain access to the last 3 numbers of the pass key given through the tape recorder from the stairwell. By entering the number sequence, the player is greeted with a minecart equipped with weapons, where you get to go through a fun little roller coaster ride, where you take out various ghosts and obstacles. The final room contains one last mini-boss who has a rather funky little groove. This boss fight of Daddy, I can't say it seriously, I'm sorry. This boss fight brings up an important motif, eyes. If we assume the spirits we encountered throughout the game are Payama's victims, then all of them seem to have a certain amount of attention drawn to the eyes, whether it's them bleeding or missing entirely. Perhaps this was an integral part to the spell in which he was doing. We defeat the iDaddy and spam clicking minigame against a doll before the player is allowed to advance to the final boss, Payama God. Here we see Payama's final form as a godlike being. He's invincible until all of the floating eyes are taken out, and only then can we attack either his eyes or his mouth. After he's killed, the screen fades to white. There's one final door before the credits roll and the game is over. Now, this isn't to say this is a complete showcase of all the game has to offer. I'll leave some of the deeper secrets and Easter eggs up to you to decode, but it does give us all we need to uncover this story of Lomando, a well-meaning amusement park manager who hires the wrong employee. A well-meaning amusement park manager who hires the wrong employee, a man who takes 17 lives in his aspirations to ascend to godhood, leaving him, along with the souls and spirits that he took or were drawn to the evil energies, to make a home in Lomando, Fancy Island, forever. I'd like to say thank you so much for watching. This is my first time ever making a video essay like this. I hope to make a lot more in the future. I really enjoy this kind of thing, and I think this game is one that holds up impressively well for being 14 years old. I mean, wonderful, and I feel like a lot more attention should be drawn to this. I'd like to give a special shout out to the Lomando Wiki, which had a lot of translations, like story summaries, character names, all of that stuff. Tell the people who put that together are very hardworking, and it was a very nice resource to have. So I will put that in the description of this video. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Don't if you didn't enjoy it. And yeah, that's it. Bye.